Hola, and welcome to Spanish Language Matters. Before we begin to learn our new words and expressions, let's review our last episode.
Hola y bienvenidos a otro episodio de Language Matters. Me llamo Jen y estoy aquí con mi colega José. Hoy les enseñamos un poco del calendario. En este episodio les enseñamos los días de la semana.
El vocabulario que se necesita para la lección es semana, mes, año. Hay 7 días en una semana, hay 4 semanas en un mes, hay 12 meses en un año.
If you've guessed, we're teaching you about the days of the week. You're right. Some strategies and words you know already. Días as in buenos días, and the number 7, hay 7 días en una semana, could help you figure out language.
Spanish is a direct descendant from Latin. In Latin, the days of the week were so named because of Roman gods, planets, and from religious derivations of Judaism and Christianity.
In English, the days of the week were named because of planets and gods common to English speakers. So, the day of the moon is Monday, Wednesday became Wednesday, and so on.
Let's look at some cultural differences between the days of the week in English and those in Spanish. In English, the week begins on Sunday. If you were to look at a calendar from a Spanish-speaking country, you would see that the week begins on Monday.
Otra vez, una diferencia grande es que la semana empieza con el domingo en inglés, pero con el lunes en español.
Los días de la semana son lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes, sábado, domingo.
Vamos a ver, empareja el día en español con su explicación.
As you can see, the days of the week come from the names of Roman gods, Mars and Jove, Martes y Jueves, planets, the ancient Romans could see, Mercury, Venus, and the moon, miércoles, viernes y lunes, and from religious derivations, sábado and domingo.
One way of learning is to learn in a sequence, lunes, martes, etc. In the next episode, we'll teach you other strategies for remembering days of the week.
Now that we've reviewed, let's begin our new episode.
Hola y bienvenidos a otro episodio de Language Matters. En otro episodio enseñamos los días de la semana en una secuencia.
En este episodio les enseñamos los días de la semana con otras estrategias.
Los días de la semana son lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes, sábado, domingo.
Did you notice that the days of the week are not capitalized in Spanish? In the Romance languages, those that come from Latin, the days of the week are not capitalized as in English.
As we showed you in the last episode, one technique for learning the days of the week was to learn the vocabulary in sequence. That technique alone would be great if you use the days of the week in a sequence.
Another strategy to learn the days of the week is to connect in sentences what came before and after the day in question. For this activity, you need to know the phrases ayer fue, yesterday was, and mañana será, tomorrow will be. Antes is the word for before, and después is the word for after. Miremos el ejemplo. Hoy es lunes, ayer fue, mañana será. Veo lunes, el día antes de lunes es domingo, el día después de lunes es martes. So, now I have 3 sentences in Spanish, and I'm practicing my vocabulary for the days of the week. Hoy es lunes, ayer fue domingo, mañana será martes.
Now we'll show you a few more examples and give you a moment to decide on your answers. Hoy es jueves, ayer fue, mañana será. Hoy es sábado, ayer fue, mañana será. Hoy es viernes, ayer fue, mañana será.
Another strategy is to connect activities to certain days of the week. Think about what you have learned on the episodes on the days of the week. You might remember 7 días de la semana and the individual days of the week themselves. Ahora, leamos un poco en español. De los 7 días de la semana, mi día favorito es el sábado. Mira mi programa favorito, Language Matters. El programa de español es interesante. Me gusta mucho. El lunes, mis amigos y yo miramos otro episodio de Language Matters.
Here is what we know. 1. 2 days of the week, sábado and lunes, were mentioned. 2. We already learned the expressions 7 días de la semana and me gusta. 3. Some words look like English. Favorito, programa, interesante, episodio. So much of the reading was familiar. It also included a review of 2 days of the week. If you could identify the 2 days without referring to English, you're on your way to learning Spanish.
Let's look at the reading again. This time, you'll be able to understand much more information. Concentrate here on the days of the week. De los 7 días de la semana, mi día favorito es el sábado. Miro mi programa favorito, Language Matters. El programa de español es interesante. Me gusta mucho. El lunes, mis amigos y yo miramos otro episodio de Language Matters.
In order to practice the days of the week, you might also change the days of the week. In the reading, you could use lunes instead of sábado. Pick your favorite day of the week. To help you, let's look at a few more words to help you understand the days of the week. Trabajo, I work. Estudio, I study. Miro, I look at.
So, you could say, trabajo el lunes. On Monday, I work. Estudio el jueves. On Thursday, I study. Miro el programa de Language Matters el domingo. On Sunday, I look at Language Matters.
Let's review. We taught you 4 strategies to learn the days of the week. Sequence, connecting yesterday, today, and tomorrow, reading days in context, and associating activities with certain days of the week.
Sigan hablando y estudiando el español. Gracias y nos vemos la próxima vez en Language Matters. Hola, and welcome to Language Matters. Before we begin to learn our new words and expressions, let's review our last episode.
Don't worry about understanding every word. We just want you to hear the language in its context.
Me llamo José. En el primer episodio de Language Matters, oímos las expresiones hola, buenos días, buenas tardes y buenas noches. Hoy aprendemos las expresiones ¿cómo estás? Y ¿cómo está? ¿Cuál es la diferencia entre ¿cómo estás? Y ¿cómo está? ¿Cómo estás? Es informal y ¿cómo está? Es formal.
Both expressions mean how are you? So how do you know in which situation something is formal or informal? Usually, if you use the person's first name in conversation, it's an informal situation. If you say señor or señora, the equivalent of Mr. or Mrs., you're in a formal situation.
Let's try that out. Tell me in Spanish formal or informal for the following situations. Juan Carlos. Señora de Arenas. Señor Presidente. Holly. Perfecto. Juan Carlos es informal. Señora de Arenas es formal. El presidente es formal y Holly, su perra, es informal. Ahora, dígame si se dice ¿cómo estás? O ¿cómo está en las situaciones? Juan Carlos, señora de Arenas, señor presidente, Holly.
Let's review what we learned today. 1. Language is learned in context, and I'll be using more Spanish than just a few words. 2. Formal and informal situations use different language forms. 3. When we want to ask how someone is, we can say, ¿Cómo estás? Or ¿Cómo está?
Now that we reviewed, let's begin our new episode.
Hola, welcome to Language Matters. I'll be speaking more Spanish to you for this installment. We will show you the words you really need to know. Don't worry about understanding every word. We just want you to hear the language in its context. A word about today's lesson. The root word for today is llama. In Spanish, double L has been considered as a separate sound, much like the Y in yes. The sound is distinctive in Spanish according to what dialect of Spanish we speak. For the purpose of Anne Arundel's Language Matters, we will pronounce ja as Y to teach you. However, some speakers of Spanish pronounce double L as ja, as in Joe, or as ja, as in pleasure. Still, others say it as ya. So the basic patterns of Spanish llama may vary. Get ready to listen to some Spanish.
Me llamo José. En el segundo episodio de Language Matters, oímos las expresiones ¿cómo estás? Y ¿cómo está? La primera expresión, ¿cómo estás? Es informal y ¿cómo está? Es formal.
Hoy aprendemos las expresiones ¿cómo te llamas? Y ¿cómo se llama? ¿Existe la misma diferencia entre ¿cómo te llamas? Y ¿cómo se llama? Es decir, ¿cómo te llamas? Es informal y ¿cómo se llama? Es formal.
¿Cuál es la diferencia entre cómo te llamas y cómo se llama? ¿Cómo te llamas? Es informal y ¿cómo se llama? Es formal.
Both expressions mean what's your name. So how do you know in which situation something is formal or informal? Usually, if you use the person's first name in conversation, it's an informal situation, as we told you in the last episode. If you say profesor or profesora, the equivalent of teacher in the classroom, you're in a formal situation. Let's try that out. Tell me in Spanish formal or informal for the following situations. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo está? Profesora. Una perrita.
Perfecto. ¿Cómo estás? Es informal. ¿Cómo está? Es formal. Profesora es formal y una perrita es informal. Ahora, dígame si se dice ¿cómo te llamas? O ¿cómo se llama? En las situaciones. So what would you say to a young student? What would you say to an older woman? What would you say one friend talking to another? And what would you say if you're talking to Holly the dog?
Revisemos. Ahora, dígame si se dice ¿cómo te llamas? O ¿cómo se llama? En las situaciones. A young student, you would say ¿cómo te llamas? To an older woman, you would say ¿cómo se llama? One friend talking to another might say ¿cómo te llamas? And talking to Holly the dog, you would say ¿cómo te llamas? Let's combine the last two lessons. Use your knowledge of Spanish to respond to the dialogue prompts. Greet me. Ask me how I am. Ask me my name. Let's review what we learned today. 1. Language is learned in context, and I'll be using more Spanish than just a few words. You won't understand all of the words, but you will begin to understand. 2. Formal and informal situations use different language forms. 3. When we want to ask someone's name, we can say, ¿Cómo te llamas? Or ¿Cómo se llama? The word llama has different pronunciations, depending on where one lives. Es todo por hoy. Nos vemos la próxima vez en Language Matters.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Porter. Anne Arundel County Public Schools Department of Transportation is raising the level of awareness for the safety of your children as we transport them to and from school. When a school bus stops to load students, as a driver, this is what you will see. At 150 feet, the bus will activate hazard lights. At 100 feet, the bus driver will activate the amber lights. They will start slowing down. At 10 feet before the bus stops, they will turn on the red bus lights. Their stop sign will come out, and students will begin to load. Once all students are on board safely, the bus driver will turn off red lights and move forward. At this time, it is safe for the motorist to resume movement.